Hi everyone. Today we're gonna replace my raised garden bed. You can see it's in bad shape, needs to be replaced. Disconnected the irrigation, and after we build the new beds, we'll take out these old ones. Here's the lumber I'm using. I got 2x6s and 4x4s. 2x6s, they measure 5.5 inches, so we're going to put one on top of another, so it'll be two of them stacked together. That'll give us 11 inches in height, and we'll hold them together with the 4x4s. Started the project by cutting down the 4x4s. So I cut the 4x4s down in length to 10 inches. So the total height of the raised garden bed will be 11 inches. So the idea behind the 4x4s being cut to 10 inches is the bottom will be flush with the bottom of the box area, and it will be 1 inch lower than the top of the box, so that the 4x4s don't stand out inside the box. So the 4x4s, they'll act to sturdy the box. You could build it without the 4x4s. I just figure having 4x4s in the corners of the box and in the center of the length of the box will sturdy the box and tighten it up so it's not, like wobbly. It'll just make for a stronger box. So for my project, I needed a total of 28 4x4s cut to 10-inch length. And the 28 4x4s at 10 inches will be enough for the entire project. The next step in the project was to cut some 2x6s to length for what the width of my box was going to be. So the width of my box was going to be 27 inches. So for my project, I needed a total of 18 2x6s cut to a length of 27 inches. Now you can make this width anything you want, but for my particular project I needed it to be 27 inches, and that's because I was replacing existing boxes that were already being used in my raised garden bed. So here's our 2x6s cut to length. The width of the box, I'm going to use 3.5-inch deck screws for the project. First thing I did was take the 4x4s, set them down, and then took the first 2x6, lined it up flush with the 4x4, and that's the bottom part of our box. I pre-drilled 2x6s using the cordless drill, and I drove the screws using the corded drill because the corded drill will just give me more torque to drive the 3.5-inch screws into the 4x4. Used a total of 4 screws on each side, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top of each 2x6. Some of my 2x6s were a little bit warped, so I had to use a clamp to squeeze the 2x6s together to keep that joint in the middle as tight as I could get it. See the 1-inch reveal at the top that I spoke about earlier in the video. And there's our finished side. Now we have the sides all built, and the next step in this process is to put the front and the backs on. That'll complete our box. So the front and back goes together the same way that the sides did. Just took our 2x6, made sure it was flush with the end, flush with the bottom, pre-drilled for our screws. Again, we used 3.5-inch screws here. Here I'm measuring for the center. We took one of our 10-inch 4x4s and we want to attach it to the center. This will stiffen it up. Over time, from the boards getting wet and dry and wet and dry, we don't want these boards to warp. So by putting this 4x4 in the center and securing our boards to it, that should stiffen it up. It'll hold the two 2x6s together and prevent any kind of warping from happening over time. So here I am finishing up the other side of the box. Same process as every other side. Very easy to build. Here's our finished box. So the next part of the project was to remove the old boxes from the raised garden bed. We took a measurement, measured out 8 foot from the end, and then measured 4 foot from the end to find the middle point of the new box. The old boxes were 6 foot long. After doing that, I jumped in with a shovel to move the dirt from against the sides of the old box, and then to also dig in the corners and in the center to accommodate those 4x4s that are attached to the new box. Right here I'm digging the part where the end of the box, or where two boxes will come together, and I had to take that down all the way to the surface, the yard surface. So after I did a little bit of digging, I had my saws all ready to go. Started to cut these boxes apart. It really wasn't hard to do. The boxes were really just so rotted, they just fell apart as I started to cut them into pieces. And I just moved all the debris off to the side until I was finished with, removing all the boxes. So with all the debris removed from the old boxes, it was time to pull the new box over, put it in place. These boxes are heavy. Pretty much just drug it into place. After setting the box on top of the dirt, just had to do a little bit of digging to get the box to drop down over top of the dirt from the existing raised garden box. Took a little bit of time. Was just patient with it. Kept digging where I had to dig, and as I dug and pushed on the box with the shovel, it finally dropped into place and was level with the surface of the yard. And I did this process all the way up with all 4 boxes and then another half of a box. Here we are with all the boxes set in place, and this was a good opportunity to get out my electric tiller and till this dirt. And after I tilled it, I was able to move some dirt around to kind of level off the boxes and make them all even as far as the depth of the dirt in the raised boxes. You can see really turned out good. So there's the finished project. This is where I plant my vegetables. So there's 4 8-foot long boxes and 1 4-foot long box, the total length of 36 feet. I hope you enjoyed this project. This was a fun project for me. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit that like button for me, it helps me out a lot. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.